And now in our closing discussion, we have our panel exploring the next generation of innovation and technology professionals. We'll explore how universities and governments can collaborate to meet the needs of knowledge societies and prepare the next generation of innovation and technology professionals. For this panel, our moderator is Professor Seen-Meng from the London School of Economics. He's Associate Professor of Practice in Finance and Associate Dean for International Relations at CUHK Business School. Professor. Joining Professor Chiu on the panel is Professor Alfred Sit Wing Hung, the Chief Executive and Secretary of the Hong Kong Institute of Engineers. Professor Savio Wong, the Associate Professor at the Department of Education Psychology at CUHK. And Dr. Florian Spiegl, the founder and CEO of Evident Group. Before we start, I would like to make an announcement. I think in the interest of time, we will not be taking any questions from the audience.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for joining this panel. Great to see so many people, in late afternoon on a Saturday. So now I'm sure that throughout the sessions in the summit so far, you have heard a lot about how rapidly technology is changing our lives, from AI to Web3 to digital assets, and these are probably the terms that we'll be frequently using and live with for the rest of our lives. So this panel is about how universities can work more closely with the industry and to work more effectively so that we can prepare and help the future generations to succeed and thrive in the digital economy. So I'd like to start with Professor Sid. Now, can you share with us about the strategic focus areas of the Hong Kong government in terms of investment in innovation and technology, especially during your tenure as the Secretary for Innovation and Technology?
Thank you, Professor Chiu. First of all, because I'm recovering from a flu, so I hope you can still hear my voice, despite some problem with the voice. Anyway, I served at the government for more than 40 years. At my last post at the Hong Kong SL government, was the Secretary for Innovation and Technology at the 5th term of the Hong Kong SL government. At that time, I would say, our support to the innovation technology in Hong Kong is unprecedented. We altogether spent at least 150 billion Hong Kong dollar on promoting INT in Hong Kong in 4 major areas. The first is promoting research and development, and the second is attract and nurture of tech talent. And the third is about supporting the INT enterprises. And also the last one is to support and build the INT infrastructure. So for the 6th term of the government, the current term, I can see they are following the same journey in supporting the INT in Hong Kong. And one of the major areas I can see from their blueprint is that we are focusing on commercializing the innovation, the R&D result in Hong Kong. Some of you may understand that Hong Kong is really good in basic research. We have 5 universities in Hong Kong. They are ranked as the top 100 universities in the world. So we should be proud of it. And the problem that we have in promoting INT is that because, we are good at basic research, but we didn't have any intention in the good old day to put all those R&D results into a commodity or services so that can build our economy. That's the reason why the government nowadays put a lot of focus on commercializing the R&D result in the universities based on what I said, 4 major strategic areas. If we have time, we can spend half an hour to talk more about the details of each. But let me stop here. If you have any question, please raise.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Sid. Yes, I'm sure innovation and technology is one of the major drivers for the future of Hong Kong's economy, and definitely something that the government wants to emphasize and invest more in this particular area. I'd like to move to Florian Spiegl. Now, Florian is a good friend of mine, and he's a fintech entrepreneur. He has started and manage a few fintech companies in Hong Kong, so I'd like him to share his views as an entrepreneur in the fintech industry. What's your assessment about Hong Kong's development and progress in innovative technology? Any examples, that you could highlight?
Yeah, thank you very much. And I've been in Hong Kong, you said many years. I've been 7 years in Hong Kong. It's home for me now, and I'm glad to be here and share a little bit. And it's great to see so many of you, young students, to be here. So if you think about development of Hong Kong, and maybe adding to what you just said, Professor Sid, it's all about how do we bring the great innovation, the thinking into reality? How do we make that tangible, right? It's all about implementation. And so maybe let me spend a little bit of time on that, also my experience having been here and having built companies here. The first thing is really about timing and time, right? We may look at the current phase as a particularly challenging time, and we should openly discuss that. And the first thing that I see is Hong Kong has seen challenging times many times before, and always came out somehow stronger. And it's also a question of the zoom. You apply a zoom of 2-3 years, it feels very challenging, right? Sometimes. Like if you think about the correct zoom, it's actually 5 years, 10 years. And then I have no doubt, going back to your question, that Hong Kong will be an innovation powerhouse. And this is not just about Hong Kong, this is about the broader region and the things that will flow together here. And maybe as a second point, if you think about where innovation comes from and how it's implemented, a lot of it comes out of challenges. That's why I like the last panel quite a bit. They were talking about opportunity and challenges. As an entrepreneur, when I see challenge, I really see opportunity. Right? What's your challenge is my opportunity, because I can help you solve it, right? And this is the translation of ideas into reality. And I think if you look at where we are now, including all the activities from the government, a lot of it comes out of the acknowledgement we have to work harder, we have to do better, we have to innovate more. And connecting to my own story again, we were talking about tokenization, this new fancy thing now. Professor Seen-Meng, you and I, was maybe 2017, we were publishing articles about it when this was very esoteric. But now we are arriving at the time where I think also in Hong Kong we realize we need to allow and support this innovation. And the infrastructure is there. Now we need to bring the entrepreneurs that build these companies, and that's all of you, right? And hopefully we can talk a little bit more about that also, what that means, what that entails. But I think we already have great innovation coming out of Hong Kong in the fintech sector, where Web3 sector is picking up speed quite a bit. We see a lot happening in new technologies like EVs, EV charging infrastructure, robotics. All these areas are there, and I think the next 5-10 years will be very exciting.
Thank you, Florian. Yes, I guess to supplement your point, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, for example, has been very progressive in developing the e-Hong Kong dollar, for example. The topic on CBDC, central bank digital currency. Now you mentioned tokenization, green bond tokenization. Is one big project that the Hong Kong Monetary Authority is also participating in. So, for all the young students here, I urge you, to learn more about all these new initiatives by the Hong Kong government. You could go to the Hong Kong MA website, and you could immediately see many of these papers and publications about all these new digital projects that the government is investing in. And I think it's definitely a good knowledge for you to learn about this technology innovation, in whichever sector that you plan to go into. It doesn't mean that you have to be a finance or a fintech professional in order to learn this. I think it's good to learn about them anyway, whatever sector that you plan to go into in the future. Now with that as the background, from a government and the industry perspective, I'd like to go to Professor Savio Wong, who's a professor in educational psychology and cognitive science. Can you share with us your experience in developing courses and curriculum to equip students with modern skills and knowledge in innovation and technology? And in particular, I learned that you are running this CUHK Jockey Club AI for the Future project, so perhaps you can share that with our students here as well. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. So let me ask a question first. Like, how many of you know about or took some courses in our AI for the Future program? Oh, just a few, okay. So we have to work harder. Actually, the project start in 2019 is a collaboration between Jockey Club and CUHK. At that point, that is around 2018, 2019. A lot of people talk about AI. Actually, it started from 2015 when AlphaGo beat the human 3 in a row, right? Anyone know about AlphaGo now? No, right? Oh, still some people. That's good. And then we talk about self-driving car, all kind of things happening about AI, and we think about how we should equip our students for the AI future. Especially some people, some senior people from the university and also from the Jockey Club, they also worry about, okay, what will happen to our next generation with the AI? Will AI replace our jobs, and then that will what kind of skills our students should prepare for? So that's why with the support from Jockey Club and the Faculty of Engineering in CUHK and Faculty of Education in CUHK, we developed this AI for the Future curriculum. We hope that we can equip our students, especially those junior secondary school students, with the skills that can prepare for them for the future. When we decide the curriculum, we have to think about what kind of skills that a student will need when they graduate. When I study computer coding, I learned something called BASIC. I don't know how many of you know about that. Right? That is basic, and then when I go to university, I have to learn Java, C, and then MATLAB, and now Python, right? The world keeps changing. So what kind of language, what kind of coding skills we have to equip our students? Is there something that if they learn in the secondary school, and after they graduate from university, that may be outdated already, right? So we have to think harder. What is the skills that will not outdated? We keep talking about changes, right? Many things change with the AI, with the technology, change every day, every year, right? But there are some skills we know that didn't change for thousands of years, right? Start from Plato, talking about critical thinking, about problem solving. Whatever is doing a STEM, doing coding, these kind of higher order thinking skills is really important for our students. So the curriculum is not just focused equipping our students with coding skills, technological skills, right? We also want them to think what is the impact of AI to the society and how they should prepare them they will not be replaced by AI. When we think about AI, how AI affects our jobs, when we decide the curriculum, we think about, maybe that time is about self-driving car, about Tesla, right? We thought that the first job will be replaced is the driver, taxi driver. But when ChatGPT available 2 years ago, right? Everyone used ChatGPT, and then one career, one kind of our close friend is the English teacher. They worry about how everyone can write the perfect language, right? No grammatical mistakes after they put their composition in the ChatGPT. So we don't really know what will happen in the future with AI, with technology, but we have to equip our students with the ability to handle all kinds of challenges, and they have the resilience to handle the challenge in the coming future, the higher order thinking skills, the critical thinking skills, the problem solving skills.
Well, may I add that now you don't even need to learn to code because AI can do it for you, perhaps, right? AI is so advanced now that it can already do it for you. Florian, you have a point to add?
I just wanted to add something as a comment for the reality around this. First of all, thank you for your work. It's very important. Second, we need to see more hands up next time you ask that question. Why? You know, I run a fintech company. We're an investment platform. We're connecting investors with great assets. Assets for us are, for example, startups fundraising or great projects. So we want to channel more capital to where it matters. We do this with around 20 people globally. So when I meet with banks and asset managers, they cannot believe that we do this with 20 people. How are we able to do this? Every single person in our company uses AI. From the developers, as you said, a very good engineer becomes what we call a 10x engineer, an elite engineer with AI, to marketing, to everything in between, strategy questions, business questions. It's mandatory. I don't look at things if people didn't use AI to verify things, to make it a little bit better. And this is a reality that's already happening in companies. And you have a tremendous opportunity that you are coming to this when this is really still just getting started. You can be the first generation that I call natively AI, right? Where the AI is your colleague, right? Just like with any other human, you need to learn how to work with that colleague, right? They may be very smart in some areas, very dumb in others. They may be difficult to work with, but it's going to be your colleague. And so don't be afraid. I don't think that narrative around jobs being replaced, that may be true for some transition period, but in reality, we'll be able to do so many more things, greater things, and we fall back to what you said. We fall back to the natural human strength of creativity, human connection, innovative thinking. I think when you go into your work life, it will be much more interesting, much more exciting than for the rest of us because of this development. Take advantage of that.
Oh, thank you. Well, I think it can all sound quite daunting, for all the young people here. Hear about all these new changes and challenges, and the world is moving so fast. How am I going to cope with it, right, in the future? It might, sound. All these developments might sound daunting to you, but I think what Savio and Florian have emphasized is to also, don't just focus on the hard skills, on the technical skills. Focus instead on the human skills. Right? We are all human, so we should instead, be strengthening our human skills. Yeah. So with that, maybe I turn to Professor Sid again. Now, in developing the human capital, for the future of Hong Kong, because all of you, you're so young, you are the backbone of Hong Kong's future economy, right? So developing you as the future human capital is definitely essential and part of the Hong Kong government's agenda. So how is the Hong Kong government collaborating with local international universities to foster collaboration in research and development in advanced technology?
Well, the Hong Kong, Hong Kong as our government has invested in a lot in nurturing our younger generation. In particular, we have some incubation program and financing support to support our local startup as well as individuals. For example, we have a scheme called a Research Talent Hub, and also a STEM internship program. For all the university students, they are willing to take up some intern job. The government will have some financial support to make sure more employers are ready to offer the tech internship for our students. But I have to say, we have on average about 40,000 secondary school graduates and 20,000 university graduates every year. So that is totally not enough to support the growth of Hong Kong. So we are also putting a lot of resources and effort in attracting talent to Hong Kong. As what I said before, Hong Kong, we have very good university and we have very good international connection. So we are very good in attracting our partner university, partner research companies coming to Hong Kong. So we have a scheme called the Inno-Hong Kong Research Cluster. The rationale is very simple. We support our local university to partner with those overseas renowned universities and research organizations to come to Hong Kong for setting up some joint research laboratories in two major areas. One is AI and robotics, and the second is on biotech. So Up to now, we have altogether 28 numbers of such joint research labs and thousands of overseas researchers coming to Hong Kong to support the INT growth in Hong Kong and GBA. That's the way that we are doing. We try to nurture our own talent in Hong Kong, as well as attracting more talent coming from overseas to Hong Kong.
That's great to hear. Now, I guess we are all very lucky to be in Hong Kong, which has so many great universities. 5 of our universities in Hong Kong are ranked within the top 100 in the world, and there are also a lot of excellent secondary schools in Hong Kong, I'm sure. Now, I'd like to turn the next question to Florian again. Now, because as an entrepreneur, as a business person, you have definitely hired people, interviewed people. Have you found it challenging to recruit the right candidates to your company? What are some of the skills, abilities that you're always looking for, but hard to find?
Yeah, so again, it's easy for me because I can build on the comments earlier. Yes, in what we do, in a very specialized field, financial technology, so finance and technology, it's actually what we call a seller's market. All of you guys are sellers. You're selling your talents, and you dominate that market. It's very difficult to hire in Hong Kong. There's not enough people here. So Evident started during COVID, and in a way, we were forced to build a global company from day one. And so today, all these people that I mentioned are spread out globally. That was part of solving the problem for us. But we're also licensed in Hong Kong. We're headquartered here. We have a lot of our clients here. We want to build a team in Hong Kong. And so when we hire, actually, I did a lot of interviews in my earlier careers and now also. But in the end, you come back to some very simple things. And maybe if I summarize the most important quality, for me, it's always attitude. It's about attitude. And so what does attitude really mean? There's a couple of things that are important. The first thing, and we heard this perfectly on the panel earlier, is resilience. Especially when you join a company that's growing very fast or that's a startup company. Grit and resilience. Dealing with adversity, just keep going. I tell sometimes my team when we have some kind of problem, I say, imagine the bomb exploded around you. You can't see anything, you lose your orientation. And then wait a little bit, let the dust settle, clean yourself off, right? Wipe your eyes, keep going. Right, so that kind of attitude is really, really valuable to any company, not just startup companies. The second thing you could say is essentially an attitude of ownership. There is a thing called managerial leverage. In a small company, as the founder, I cannot do everything. I need people who are willing to take responsibility and run with it. That's managerial leverage. I can delegate work, and people take the responsibility. Right? That's another thing. The final thing, something that, again, I can only mirror from what was said earlier on the panel, is hard work. Nothing replaces hard work. If you think about it, all the great things in all of humankind, all of it required hard work, all the achievements. Give me one example where the people who did it said, that was easy. That was not a lot of work. Zero. So whenever I hear, oh, let's focus on working smarter, all those things, I said, let's work hard first. So what's the secret about this attitude thing? It's incredibly rare. These are very simple things. You might think, yeah, it's obvious. Yes, it is, but it's rare. It's maybe 1 out of 10 people that I meet that have this kind of attitude. And the good news about this is, yes, part of it you will get from your educational environment. It's also the job of universities to create opportunities for you to develop that. But most of it is down to you. It's an opportunity for you, right? Attitude can be worked on. You can cultivate it. And you will stand out. You will be that 1 person out of 10, right? That really adds value to a company. So most of our people, we hire with attitude. That's it.
Okay, yes, definitely something that I've heard from employers again and again. Hire for the attitude, not really the skills, because skills is something that you can train, right? Okay, so with that, to Savio, now how do you think universities should collaborate more closely with the industry to nurture the young talent, the future talent?
I think like that is really, I would like to echo what about like attitudes, because when we talk about education, we teach students with three things, right? One is really about their attitudes, right? Second is about their skills, and last is their knowledge. For example, when we teach about like students about AI, we not just teach them about coding skills. We also talk about how they should approach their attitude to approach AI. Like nowadays, everyone can use ChatGPT to prepare for their homework, right? To help them to do their homework, right? But what is the ethics behind? How they should like make use of AI while they can still be an honest person. I think that is the attitudes that we want to educate our next generation. And also, of course, knowledge. If they have the knowledge to use AI, just like mentioned, right? Every of your staff, right, use AI in their job. If they don't have the knowledge that, actually AI can help them in solving this kind of task, and they still doing all the manual job and spend a lot of time, right? That is the difficulties for them to catch up with the technology. So from education perspective, we always emphasize that not just about the skills, knowledge, attitudes, it's also really important. How they approach the technology, how they approach the knowledge, the skills, that's also really important. So when we develop the AI curriculum, we are not just like stay in the university, we work with schools. We invite schools, partners, like teachers, principals, to come to the university and discuss with us. Okay, now this is the things that we want to equip our students from the education, from the really a scientific perspective. What is the view or the perspective from the frontline teacher and the principals? So they give us a lot of really important information that, actually this may be too difficult for the junior secondary school students. This may be like more related to general studies that relate to critical thinking, problem solving. So we got a lot of feedback from the frontline teachers and the principal before we can have a curriculum that is suitable for the secondary school students. But as you mentioned, that actually one thing is missing is the input from the business, from the employer. If we had know more about from the employer perspective, whether that we are still missing something, that we are really happy to integrate, because that we always emphasize about the collaboration between government, the industry, and also the university.
Thank you. I actually like to hear some questions from the audience. I know you don't have a lot of time, but I think it's good to be a little bit more interactive. If there's one or two questions from the audience, I think it's great if you like to raise, to our speakers here. Anybody? Yes, I see some hands over there. So maybe this lady, and then followed by, okay.
Thank you for your comments on how can-do attitude and just the attitude of resilience and etc. But don't you think in today's world where everything's about efficiency, you would rather pick someone who's really smart and works their way around? Because I saw this talk somewhere that this person was like, it was a really successful person. He said, I want lazy people because lazy people don't want to do this for a long time, so they work at the most efficient problem. And in this world, you want to continuously driving your company to the top, right? So may I ask about, would you really pick someone who's smart and can make your life really efficient versus someone who works really hard but might take 24 hours and 48 hours to complete a task instead? Thank you.
First of all, I want to say one thing. You guys are amazing of asking questions and the kind of questions you ask. I also teach at other universities, fintech classes, MBA classes. A lot of people are very timid in these classes to ask questions. It's great, and it's a very good question. The answer is, I don't care. I don't care. I care about outcomes, right? So what in this situation, if you were in this company, right, in our company, I would give you the responsibility. You would know exactly what we're trying to achieve. And we have a timeline in which we want to achieve it, right? Everything is very well structured, and you're responsible for coming back with the results. If you, for example, you were mentioning, kind of alluding to be careful with doing your homework with AI. I don't care if you use AI to do all your work. It's just a smart way, right? And you can slack off for 9 hours a day. If the result is there, it literally doesn't matter to me. So I think in companies worth joining, they really care about the outcome because we are all different, right? We have different working styles. Some of my engineers, software engineers, they work through the night, right? They work through the night. And I don't want to stop. I don't want to tell them, oh, you have to show up at 9 a.m. and then you sign off at 5. No, you work when you're most productive. Some people work out of coffee shops, right? I don't want to limit that creative potential, their potential. The important thing is to look at the outcome, and that's really what matters. But that, again, that only works if that person comes with that right attitude. That person can own something, can take the pressure of, I have some expectation. That person is organized. The person knows how to get things done. It all goes back to that, right? Because then that trust develops, and then you see good results.
Drive and determination is always the most important attitude. Yes.
So when you work in the industry, you know that the couple of words you have to remember: get things done. Okay. That is like also actually when we say more scientific, we call it the outcome based, right? But like in the university, we talk about outcome based learning. It doesn't really matter. What I want to teach my student is what kind of student they can be. If I can use like a really boring lecture to make you a smart person, that is perfectly okay. We are looking at the outcome.
Thank you. Now, I think just to supplement one point, I think the question is not either or. Again, it's and. You know, we want attitude and intelligence. We want both, right? Most employers, if they, looking for candidates, of course, they would like to have someone that have both good attitude and also intelligence. Okay, if I can take one more question for this gentleman here.
Hello, all right. Do I have to introduce myself again? All right. So I'm Darren Pun, and my question this time, I want to continue on the topic of attitude, but I want to bring it closer to the topic of education at hand, which is especially Dr. Florian Spiegl. You talked about the attitude, right? But about this resilience and grit. How should we develop this in the sector of education? Should we allow young people to fail in primary or secondary school in their early lives, or will this lead to them being having a low self-esteem and being unconfident? So where's the trade-off? What's your opinions on this, everyone? Yeah.
Maybe I start from really academic perspective first. Nowadays we talk about something we call productive failure. Productive failure. It may sound contradictory, right? But for school, it's actually a place for us to create a safe environment for our students to fail. When they fail, when they make mistake, they can learn. But when you go to the industry, right, it's I don't know, another story, right? But when you're at school, when you fail, you will have a second chance. I always tell my students that when you're a student, you can ask the dumb questions. When you are a student, you can make all kinds of mistakes. So the responsibility for teacher and school is to create a safe environment for students to fail and to learn from their failure.
So, sorry, please go ahead.
I always remember a good old saying: what happened in your life is not to you, but for you. So you need to learn from the failure so that you can grow. So it's okay for you to face some failure, and the most important that you learn from it so that it's part of your life, so that you can make yourself better for your future.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm glad you answered the question from an educational perspective, because it's a very difficult question. But from an industry and general perspective, if you connect back to resilience, it's very hard to teach that, right? It's something that you have to develop and experience. And the best way to develop that is to embrace hardship, embrace the challenges that you have. We all have that, right? There's not a single human who hasn't experienced some kind of hardship. It's a very individual thing. Embrace it and think for yourself, how will this make me stronger? This is one way of making it through it, but it's also a very constructive way of becoming stronger. And I encourage you, if you can note this down, if you haven't seen it already, this was, I think, last week, the founder of NVIDIA, really successful GPU chip company underpinning the AI revolution, Jensen Huang. He was speaking in, I think it was in Stanford. You can easily find it on YouTube. He said it very harshly. He said, I wish upon all of you lots of challenges, basically. I want you to fail a lot. Because he learned himself that resilience is the most important thing, determinant for success. So it's really something you have to experience. But since we will fail all the time anyways, make use of it. And that's again back to that attitude of, okay, that happened to me, that's bad. What can I learn from it? How can I get stronger with it? And that will get you there. I think it's incredibly difficult to actually create an environment where that can happen, but I think this is one of the roles of educational institutions as well.
Thank you. I think with that, let's wrap up the panel. Thank you so much for all the insights from the panelists. I hope that they have shared useful tips for all the audience and students here today, albeit being a very short panel. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Chu, our moderator, and our panelists, Professor Alfred, Professor Savio Wong, and Dr. Florian Spiegl. Now, we'd like our chairlady, Ms. Sandy Lau, to present to our moderator and panelists some thank you certificates. At the same time, I'd like to invite our London Ball Foundation co-founders and committee members to take a photo with us all together. Now, before we kick off our My Dream program ceremony, we'd like to invite our panelists to have a seat, and we'd like to invite Professor Stefano Tesalli to come and say a few words. Professor Stefano Tesalli came all the way. He's a professor of management at Exeter Business School. He came all the way from Amsterdam just to attend this education summit.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction. Just a few words that I see. Fantastic attendance of people, but we are all, I think, quite tired for this long day. So this last one was an amazing panel about technology, collaborating with co-authors on a book for Oxford University Press, and really try to face this challenge, remembering an episode of my previous life, not an academic, but a consultant. I remember a lot of years ago, it was around 2, 3 a.m., we were working on a consulting project. And we had a device. One of these devices were just receiving, collecting, answering emails, something very different from the ones we have today. I don't say the name of the brand, but you can imagine. And around 2, 3 a.m., we were playing PlayStation. There was a beep from one of these devices, and it was an email that we received. And I remember that the personal feeling of the partner was taking this phone and crashing against the wall. We were back in 2007, 2008. Now, I would imagine if it happens to any of you, it's around 2, 3 a.m., you get a beep, you'll never do it. What is the difference? The difference is that back in time, that device was only a device for work. But today, in any of the devices that we don't have just work, we have life. We thought about it, and there has been a very fundamental philosophical change in the use of technology that we make. Martin Heidegger, a great German philosopher from the last century, was talking about a clear separation between two elements that date back from Plato, Aristotle, and Savio was saying. One is techne, which is the Greek word for technology, which substantially means instrument, tool, and the other one is physis, which means nature, our own nature, who we are. The major challenges, we can say, that are brought in by AI is that these two separate domains, the world of techne, the world of physis, are really intertwined and connected as they were never before probably in the history of mankind. This is a great opportunity for business. This is a great opportunity for us to learn and to look at the future in bright ways, but at the same time, as our panelists have said, it's also something that deserves further consideration. So I just want to leave you with this last reflection, and thank you so much for attending, and thank you again, Sandy, for your incredible, outstanding, and really, I don't have any other adjectives to say for this incredible day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Stefano. Now, our final Our final program for the evening, for today, not for the evening. But now let's turn our attention to the impactful My Dream program, supported by the London Borough Foundation. This initiative exposes young teenagers to diverse career paths, fostering exploration and thoughtful consideration of their future vocations. Today, we have the privilege of presenting the My Dream Winner Awards, honoring individuals who have pursued their dreams and made a positive impact on society. Now, before passing it to Sandy, let's play a short video on the judging day of the first My Dream program.
我哋好開心啦，得到咧中華倫敦協會嘅贊助同埋佢哋嘅建議，希望咧我哋喺我哋學校裏邊咧試行一下，點樣鼓勵一啲初中嘅同學開始咧發夢。發咩夢啊？唔係白日夢，係夢想下當你長大之後，其實可以點樣貢獻呢個社會。我哋都唔知㗎喎，社會咁多問題咁多需要，所以咧今日我哋嘅設計咧係會按翻聯合國嘅17個可持續發展目標，17個都係全世界都一齊關注嘅社會議題，例如有貧窮，例如有健康，仲有各式其式嘅情況。
Is to become a businessman. I'd probably like to become like my dad. He has been working in a business for more than 20 years, so I'd probably like to become a businessman like him. I'd like to get a recognition like him. Like he has the value in the market. I want to be like him. I think I can help the poor people. I can help the local businesses. I can invest in the local businesses, make them bigger, and then I can make them worldwide. I can have big investments. I can also donate to the charities which help the needy and poor people. And I can also help in the economy of the country I live in. I think my dream program can help me become a better man and also help me because it teaches more about the outside world. It teaches how the world's going on right now, how people are facing the problems. If I am brave enough, I can also try to find the solutions for the problem. It can also, if I start my own business, it can help me boost the business by doing that.
你嘅志願將來想做？
我嘅志願係想做青少年社工啦。點解呢？因為而家有好多青少年會患一種病啦，係 ADHD， 即係活躍症啦。點解我咁樣講呢？因為我自己其實都係一個 ADHD 嘅患者嚟嘅，我好多謝中華倫敦協會呢個計劃啦，佢可以俾咗我機會嚟去實踐我上面講嘅職業啦，即係青少年社工。我嘅夢想係成為一名心理醫生啦。咁我自己以往就係出生喺一個好貧困嘅家庭啦。咁可能每日即係可能就靠一包即食麵就搞掂一日㗎啦。咁我都因為屋企即係長期處於一啲好唔穩定嘅狀況啦，所以其實我嘅情緒上面同埋心態上面都係比較正常，即係比正常人係比較差啲啦。最大嘅目標係幫助一啲好似我以前可能類似經歷嘅人啦，咁其實都係想幫助返社會上唔同背景嘅人啊，咁樣。所以我都好多謝中華倫敦協會嘅我的志願先導計劃啦。咁我都希望將來嘅師弟啊都可以有幸參加呢個嘅計劃啦，可以俾更加唔同嘅人諗下以後將來自己想做啲咩啊
My Dream 先導計劃，耶！
喺頒獎俾得獎嘅同學之前，我哋有請 Chair Lady 劉善婷女士為我哋發表講話。
快講幾句啫，我知道 Alfred 啊。我哋 bilingual 啦，今日成日聽咗英文，咁而家我哋開始廣東話啦。咁我真係覺得咧，你哋先可唔可以俾啲掌聲俾你哋自己？好犀利！我以前喺大學、中學、小學都好啦，我都未試可以咁樣坐，即係咁多個鐘頭。有啲仲係朝頭早10點開始喺度，我真係覺得你哋好叻。我哋今日啦有好多唔同類別嘅 panels 啦，行業嘅 panels， 我希望你哋聽完之後，有咗諗法嘅，本來有諗法嘅，而家可能更多諗法；冇諗法嗰啲，我希望你而家開始去計劃去諗。咁最緊要記得，無論你將來喺香港讀書好，希望你哋都繼續喺香港讀書啦。如果你哋真係去外國留學也好，最終你哋都會翻嚟香港創業、做業、就業，繼續進修，回饋社會，得唔得先？同埋貢獻社會最緊要，即係翻嚟呢個，始終香港都係我哋屋企。咁所以咧，我亦都好想即係好 congratulate 啱啱我哋 My Dream Program 第一次做，即係陳 Sir 係落咗好多心機功夫，亦都好有心嘅位老師。咁我哋事不宜遲啦，咁就我哋請啱啱嗰兩位得獎者都分享少少我哋嘅 program， 有請。
兩位得獎者分別係冠軍嘅周子軒，佢嘅志願係成為一位社工，同埋亞軍嘅得主陳志峰，佢嘅志願係想成為心理學家嘅。
好，各位朋友午安。咁我預備咗英文嘅，不過 bilingual 我用翻廣東話啦。咁咧就今日我哋都係嚟自天主教慈幼會伍兆梅中學啦。咁我身邊嗰兩位咧係我嘅導師，因為我剛剛學識咗咧做學生最好，學生可以 make mistakes。可以 learn from failure 啊，所以咧我而家做學生，其實咧每日喺佢哋嘅身上咧，我哋老師都學到好多嘢，唔係淨係學到以前嘅忍耐，而係學到好多同理心，同埋學到咧每個同學自己嘅獨特性同埋佢哋有嘅故事。我哋唔想佢哋停留喺而家呢個階段。多謝中華倫敦協會有呢個咁好嘅機會咧，讓我哋嘅學生可以 dream big， 可以開始咧諗下佢嘅將來。佢嘅將來唔係淨係為咗自己，而係諗下做好自己，改善屋企之餘，仲可以為社會做啲乜嘢呢？今日咧兩位朋友咧，一位阿軒，一位咧係阿峰，好唔好啊？兩位咧都係中二嘅同學嚟嘅，不如咧我簡單咧訪問下佢哋好唔好啊？咁阿軒先啦，係咪？阿軒，阿軒你有啲緊張喎，係咪啊？我都唔緊張，你唔使緊張啦。
我講得好好嘅，你唔好緊張啊。
係啊，好好啊。
真係。
阿軒咧，你簡單講下你想做社工。其實我都係社工出身啦，點解咁多嘢唔做社工呢？
點解？因為我喺即係入嚟嗰陣時，我遇咗啲困難啦，跟住我就去諗咯喎，我就去見下社工啦。我見完幾次社工呢，我會諗明好多道理喎，而計心智啦，我自己心智又會變得成熟咗好多咯。
係啊，所以我哋唔係淨係想我啲學生淨係見到老師同埋社工嘅，所以希望佢哋咧好似今日咁嚟到呢度咧，見識多啲唔同嘅朋友，佢嘅視野咧又可以廣闊啲。咁當然咧，做社工都係一個非常之有意義嘅工作啊！好啊，俾啲掌聲，多謝阿軒好嘛 ？Thank you。好啦，阿峰，阿峰就好謙虛啦，佢話自己食即食麵。邊度食即食麵可以咁高㗎？嚇，唔可能嘅，所以嚇咁當然啦，唔係嘅，佢都有佢過往嘅經歷同埋困難。我哋幽默啲咧都可以抗疫嘅。阿峰而家咧就好積極啦。原本咧阿峰都想做社工嘅，不過咧見過阿 Sandy 之後咧 ，Sandy 咧又幫佢擴闊咗視野。其實你讀書咁叻都唔一定做社工啊，可以做下心理學家啦、心理醫生。而家你有咩新嘅睇法？
我覺得自己係。即係可以再望遠少少，就即係其實本身想做社工係想幫助即係更加多嘅人啦。咁但係其實有好多工都係可以，即係好多職業都係可以幫到更加多嘅人咯。即係可能心理醫生啊，都其實係可以幫到唔同嘅即係一啲有需要嘅人士啊。
係啦。 好，咁啊，無論點都好咧，幫人幫社會咧係最重要嘅。好啦，今次咧就好啦，有獎學金啦嚇，咁啊多謝中華倫敦協會嘅慷慨支持啦。呢啲錢諗住點樣用？點樣幫你哋可以步近你嗰個理想咧？你講先啊，軒。
我會因為先講前提啦。我自己因為有一種病叫 ADHD 啦，即係頭先段片係。我會即係專注力不足，而我學習咧一般都好低嘅，成績都好差嘅。而我會去想攞呢一筆錢嚟去做呢個去報下啲補習班啊嗰啲咯，你去加強自己嗰啲文化水平咯。
針對自己嘅特徵再做多啲訓練，係咪咁樣啊？非常之好。好啦，阿峰。
我會想即係攞筆錢去即係去外國交流啦。咁因為我即係由細到大都冇出過國嘅，所以都想即係擴闊下自己嘅視野啊，即係冇好似一個井底之蛙咁咯。
OK， 好多啲去外國，去下外國，去邊度好啊？喂，去遠啲喎。
去遠啲美國啊、英國嗰啲啊。
美國、歐美咁啊，我哋先多謝中華倫敦協會啦，好嘛 ？OK。
即係繼續努力，多謝咁多位支持。
俾啲掌聲，多謝佢哋 ，thank you。
唔該晒陳志偉老師。
唔好係。
今日我哋好榮幸邀請到沙田民政事務助理專員曾嘉怡女士為我哋頒獎，同埋有請天主教慈幼會伍小梅中學李建文校長同劉善婷女士一齊為我哋頒發獎項俾各位嘅得獎者㗎。有請其他得獎嘅同學。咁夢想成真 My Dream 先導計劃咧喺天主教慈幼會伍少梅中學就推行得相當成功啦。咁我哋咧非常感謝顧問方俊文先生 MH 以及贊助人盧佩儀女士，令我哋可以再下一城，將呢個計劃推廣至整個沙田區㗎。咁令沙田區咧成為咗18區之中第一個推廣 My Dream 先導計劃嘅地區。喺我哋邀請沙田區各學校嘅代表上嚟之前呢，我哋先欣賞一下以下呢段方俊文先生嘅短片啦。
大家好，我係今屆沙田節主席方俊文，好高興誠意邀請到在座學校參與由中華倫敦協會主辦嘅追夢成真 My Dream 先導計劃，同時好榮幸我哋喺沙田區成為全港嘅18區首站，希望呢個計劃喺全香港可以一直延續落去。大家有冇自己嘅夢想？而夢想又實現咗未？我年輕嘅時期已經為自己訂立咗唔同嘅目標，希望長大咗之後能夠成為一位出色嘅企業家，有能力幫助有需要嘅人，從而回饋社會。我相信只要有住清晰嘅目標同埋方向，憑住不斷嘅努力同埋嘗試，最終目標一定可以成功。因此，我哋希望可以透過追夢成真 My Dream 先導計劃，鼓勵青少年盡早思考未來，為自己嘅人生訂立目標，同時展望將來，最終能夠為社會不同嘅方面帶嚟不同嘅貢獻。我相信只要有理想、有清晰嘅目標，努力不懈，無論喺唔同嘅崗位上，都一定有一番成就，從而可以回饋社會。今日非常之感謝中華倫敦協會主席劉善婷女士提供呢個機會俾各學校一同參與一個咁有意義嘅活動，同時亦都非常之感謝沙田民政事務助理專員曾嘉怡女士嘅大力支持。本人希望各位同學能夠積極參與，最後祝大家追夢成真。
再次感謝方俊文先生。跟住落嚟，有請我哋嘅主席劉善婷女士以及曾嘉怡女士為我哋頒發感謝狀俾盧佩儀女士，以感謝佢對 My Dream 先導計劃嘅贊助同埋支持㗎。同時，我哋有請計劃嘅另一位顧問李成澤博士，有請盧女士同埋李博士上前接受感謝狀。請4位 合照一張。跟住落嚟有請李博士同我哋分享幾句嘅。
係啦，咁啊各位同學仔今日好高興啊！其實我一路聽咧，我聽咗一日㗎啦，由朝到依家。咁我覺得吸收咗好多。咁其實從小就開始追夢。咁頭先咧就好多謝方俊文先生，因為佢係一個服務社群、熱心公益嘅一個大善人，加上佢太太真係匹配到不得了。咁對今次咧呢個願望成真咧係先導計劃咧夢想成真先導計劃咧係非常落力嘅，係啦。咁其實夢想成真其實真係改過好多次嘅，因為我覺得我哋追夢未必追到嘅。咁今日咧其實中華倫敦協會咧係想將你哋嘅願望成真，即係你嘅心願成真，但係要記得正向正念，無負初心，呢個係第一。第二樣嘢就係，如果你真係身懷絕技、高瞻遠矚嘅話，記得要報效翻曾經同你一齊行嘅人，用唔同嘅方式去服務社會。多謝。
感謝李博士嘅。而家咧有請以下學校嘅代表上嚟一齊影張大合照留念。活動咧亦都接近尾聲啦。喺完結之前，有請 Chair Lady 劉善婷女士為我哋致辭嘅。
Just a final word to round up. As we approach the end of this Enriching Education Summit, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all our distinguished speakers, moderators, panelists, and participants for their invaluable contributions in today's summit. Your expertise and passion have made this event truly remarkable. Lastly, on behalf of London Ball Foundation, I would like to thank once again our venue partners, CUHK, sponsors, co-founders, committee and subcommittee, supporting organization, the event staff, and all the volunteers who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make this Education Summit 2024 a resounding success. With this, we bring the Education Summit 2024 to a close. We hope that the discussions and connections made today will inspire innovation solutions and collaborations in the years to come. Let's continue working together to shape the future of education and betterment of Hong Kong. Thank you all. Thank you.